loss of bone, for example, continues. The decline of collagen continues when you stop the hormones. You know, we're living longer now than we ever have. You know, Roman women had a baby when you were a young teenager, and you were a grandmother in your late 20s, then you kind of wound down and died when you were in your late 40s. But we're going to live another, you know, 40, 50, 60 years, you know, in a decline, or, you know, trying to stay active and working. You know, there are side effects, risks, and benefits to taking hormones and not taking them. That is my opinion.
Is there any cream on the market that you could take that you could, you know, without going through all of these tests to see, okay, try some of this cream that's not full of the urine from the horses or whatever, from the Mexican yam, that's already in a pharmaceutical company?
Yeah, Robin can tell you. She has, it's called Progesta cream. It's progesterone is so safe it is sold over the counter.
Okay.
I mean, obviously this is what I do, okay? I mean, I'm going to obviously say, well, you should get your levels checked. But, and the young peri person, probably the progesterone cream would, you know, be a godsend. It helps you to sleep, and it helps you to be calm, and so on. And it, you know, it's a very small amount.
I tried that, the cream first, but it didn't again. So I'm taking perimenopause, the AM and PM. PM's helping me sleep better.
Enzymatic therapy?
Yes.
They do a good job.
So, getting there.
So the ones on the market is at a very low level, and if you need a lot more, you need to go to a doctor to get it increase. You can't like take more cream or whatever.
Well, to an extent, you can take more cream, but I mean, you don't know what for sure you're testing. You know, sometimes it can be a deficiency of something else. I mean, I checked for B12, for example. Sometimes vitamin B12 can be low. That can lead to, you know, the old-timey country doctors used to give everybody a B12 shot if you were tired, you know, and regular doctors would sneered at that, but now we're just coming right around full circle. It's not a bad idea, and it is helpful, and the levels, you know, decline as we age and so on. I mean, it's a lot to it.
Well, my experience with Dr. Becker is after she drew my blood and got my hormones, she looked at my chart, and she found the ones that were the most out of whack, you know, and then she worked with those. And then I would come back in 6 months later and we'd find, she would check the ones that she was working with, and then we would work with something else. And she would ask me, well, do you want to work on your brain? Do you want to, you know, think? And so we would work on that one. It's foggy right there. So she would ask me what I wanted to work on next, and she would show me where my levels are. So, you know, you can be as extensive as you want, or you can just work on the 3, you know, progesterone, testosterone, and estrogen. But she's very thorough.
And I can reiterate what Robin has said, because I too am a patient because of Robin, of Dr. Becker. And so, anyway, it certainly has made me feel better. And that's what's important. And I'm much older than she is.
It's a fun thing, you know, to see your hormones and see the levels of it, I think. So, and you get yourself balanced.
Do you have any cards?
I didn't have much.
Thank God, as usual. Rushed through. I think, perhaps do
I got another question. Do you have a pharmaceutical company that would process the creams, level it, that does it more in a organic or wholesome way?
yes, there are some good compounding pharmacies that I do work with. You know, I see their product and I've retested their, you know, prescriptions that I prescribe, and I know which ones are very accurate. You know, there's Stono, Talon, so there's various ones in this area. There is one Stono now? Yeah. Or Stono in Santerre. Oh.
A quick question. Is it, my OB-GYN was very frustrated. He delivered 2 of my kids, did a hysterectomy, interior, posterior, the whole 9 feet. I went to him, and I explained to him that my mom's 64 years old and has Alzheimer's, and she had more of a sexual libido than what I was having, you know, and I'm like, hey doc, there's something wrong here. Didn't do anything, gave me a prescription for testosterone. You just put the cream on, right? So he said, but you need to go do your blood work. I said, okay. So then I seen this big thing on Oprah, you know, talking about all that, and I was like, that is me. That's what's happening to me. And so I called him up and I said, can you give me all my levels? And they told me, we only checked your testosterone. And I was like, well, that's a male chauvinistic person. That's what I was thinking personally. I was fuming. So then I called my family doctor and he said, you have a right as a woman to go back to your OB-GYN and request that he test all your levels for you. It's his job to get you where you need to be. So I went and did that. I mean, I was bruised up and I was pitiful. They ended up telling my estradiol they checked was 400. And I'm like, 400, you know, because he looked at the total for an ovary, you know, that was not a normal total. And I was like, what is going to happen? Oh, don't worry, because if you were to do your estradiol check at different times, it will never be the same. True or false?
The estrogen varies day 10 to 14. It peaks when you're making an egg. So you have to know the day of the woman's cycle that it's drawn on. For example, if you have, that probably was done when you were ovulating or near to. So you need a certain amount of progesterone to balance that, and you need testosterone also. So for the young perimenopausal person, the layman's term, without knowing the rest of your blood work, I'm just assuming that your progesterone is low. You would be the prototypical estrogen dominant individual. You know, some
I just started
anxiety.
going to an herbalist, right? Because I was fuming. And she's got me on Vitex. I mean, it's doing great. I'll be honest, you know. Not saying it's for everybody, but you get upset when you have to stop and deliver your babies. He doesn't want you okay. You know, it's too easy, right? And that's what I was just wondering. I was like, they said that they can check it. It'll always be different.
Well, it will. I mean, but that's why you have to ask the day that it's done on. And in fairness to your OB-GYN, actually I used to deliver pills, but I mean, I can't do a hysterectomy. I don't even pretend to. And that individual hasn't spent $5,000 a year for 3 or 4 years in a row going to seminars all over the country. Hasn't, I'm guessing, I bet $1,000 he hasn't taken written and oral boards and anti-aging and so on. Those things I've received specialized training. It isn't recognized yet, but I believe that it will be one day. So your OB-GYN, that individual, he never received the training, and it's okay. I mean,
well, you know, that's what I asked him. I said, are you really into these compounding solutions? And they're like, well, he's really not into them. So I'm like, well, you need to go back to.
That's a truthful remark, you know. But if you need to have a surgical procedure, you need to have some other kind of thing done, you would go see that individual.
Right.
You need to have your hormones done. Perhaps your herbalist is helping you for now.
Right.
You're young with the estrogen 400.
Right.
So, but when, you know, things decline, it may not be, the herbs may not be enough, but, you know, you'll see how you will do.
And I told a lady was talking about just the wild yams. Get the wild yam cream or something.
Well, that would be pure progesterone.
Okay.
You know, and it's a dilute strength, even as she mentioned. But, you know, it is the real deal.
Okay. Because what type of blood work do you have to have when you come and see you? Just
Well, you know, I do all of anti-aging. Like, it was interesting to me that you said that your relative had,
my mom.
your mom had Alzheimer's. You know, a homocysteine is a marker. I mean, there are many causes for Alzheimer's, including alcoholism. You can get hit on the head too many times. But if you have the type of Alzheimer's that's caused by high homocysteine, and if that is treated, you know, that would be very, very beneficial. So we look at homocysteine. If you go to your regular family doctor, that would not be checked until after you've had your stroke or your heart attack.
Right, okay.
But I look at that and, you know, what is it? Well, it's the metabolic breakdown product of methionine that isn't utilized correctly in your body, and it's an inflammatory blood marker for Alzheimer's and heart disease.
So you want I should have mine checked.
You want your level under 7, and it goes for you and your mom.
Okay. My mom doesn't, in just a year, she knows none of us. Really?
But if she has high homocysteine, lowering her homocysteine.
So things and tests that you do, are they like covered by insurance, like
good question.
or is it?
Some are, some
just
are, but
depends on
it's,
your-
you know, 4 hours, you know, it's like a 4-hour deal with me, you know, it's an hour over 4 visits, so, well, like, I see a lot of school teachers, and they're, I don't know what kind of insurance they have, but their insurance actually even pays for the visits, you know, retrospectively. Some insurance, you know, doesn't. They think testosterone in a 45-year-old, that's stupid, denied. So
So check your insurance, because I had Blue Cross Blue Shield, PPO.
I mean, they vary. You know, we give you the papers and you can follow yourself. Some people